Welcome, Ho Lifers, to the Health Over Everything podcast. I'm Stephen Z.
And I am SoCal Gula. Today, we're going to be talking about what is health over everything. We're decided to do this episode so you, the whole lifer, can get some insight into what living that whole life is all about. You ready to get into it, Stephen?
I am ready. Let's do it.
All right. So we have 7 different points of what health over everything is all about. And the first thing is basically prioritizing health above all else. What do
Yep.
you have to, what do you, some thoughts on that, Stephen?
Well, yeah, it wasn't until, my later years that I started realizing that if you don't have your health, there's not really too much else in life that really matters. Of course, you're going to care about your loved ones, your wife, your kids, and all that. But even if you're chasing something financially, what's the point of becoming a millionaire if you can't enjoy your money, right? If you don't have your health, if you're stuck to a bed and everyone that you love is just off doing their thing, that's not much of a life. So I think, like they say, health is wealth. That started to have way more meaning in my older years now that I'm 40. It's something that is more on my radar. So it makes sense to me. You got to prioritize your health because without that, like nothing else really matters in the grand scheme of things.
Yes, true that. And a lot of people hear that health over everything and they get kind of confused saying like, well, no, fuck that. I put my family over everything. Well, in my opinion, like you should put your health over everything because what good are you to your family if you're dead, like if you die
Yeah.
soon? Like your dad passed away and my dad both passed away, or both of our dads have passed away, and that was
Hmm.
a big impact in both of us. So we
Yeah.
know what it's like when you live an unhealthy lifestyle, and now we don't have the our parents along, like, and it could go even you don't have your mother, and that's because of some mental health issues. She committed suicide, and so even the mental health is very important. So that's why we put health over everything, because you lost both your parents and I lost one of my parents, and my mom's still alive, thankfully. But like if my dad would have prioritized health more instead of maybe like, oh, I just all only care about family, we would still have him today. And to me, I think putting your health and being healthy and being a great example for your kids also makes them, as you're doing with your son, Stephen, like
Yeah.
you're living prioritizing health over everything. And now your kid is getting some good examples and good traits in his life. So then he could grow up to have a healthier lifestyle. So this is why we're actually putting health over everything, because by putting health over everything, you actually are kind of putting your family above everything, because now you're being a good example and you're living longer, and you also could be doing more things, because if you're overweight and can't do anything, like you might not be able to do some of the things that you want to with your family because you're in the
Yeah.
hospital, you're getting surgeries and stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. And I like the fact that you bring up mental health because that is a part of being a healthy individual. Like you can have the physical aspect of it, you can have the nutritional aspect of it, but if you're a stressed out individual in your mind, like they say, stress is like the number one killer. So it's a balance of all those things. You got to have your health, the nutrition, your physicality, and then also your mental health is very important because yeah, it just builds into the all-encompassing thing of being healthy.
Yeah. And like another thing I like to do is like I heard of like put a value list. Like make a like write out on a piece of paper a value list. Like what is your values, right? And if
Mhm.
like when we were 20 years old, you could say like, "Oh, I want," you could have in your mind that something is a value to you. But if you actually write it down and think about it, what you do most often, that's what's most valuable to you. So let's
Mhm.
say when I was 21, I would just party all the time and drink. So I could have been like, "Oh yeah, like friends are my value," or something else. But no, drinking was my number one value. So in my value list, I would put drinking. So that way drinking was over everything, right? That's what it would have been. But now, as I'm 40, now I prioritize my health. That's what I think about all the time. I still like, I used to care about money so much, and I still do. That's one of my top priorities, trying to get
Mhm.
financially free. But I still put health over everything, health over the money, because like what's the use, like you're saying, what's the use of getting rich if you don't have health over everything? So health over everything is basically putting health over everything in your value list. Yes, you could put family right underneath it, like family number two, like, but it doesn't have to be like a far distant two. It could be right up,
Mhm.
right next to it, like butting right up to it. Like
And
health
I
over
can
everything
agree.
and family over everything are the two essential things. But you just make sure that you're prioritizing health every day. So you're
Yeah.
not like, oh, I love my family. I'm going to do everything for them, but I'm not going to eat good today. No, you're just basically saying I'm doing everything for my family, but I'm going to eat good today. I'm going to go get my exercise in. Yeah. Yes, I want to hang out with my son or my wife, but I'm going to wake up early in the morning and do my gym routine because I'm putting health over everything. And I'm not going to miss that time of my son and my family later on in the evening when they're awake and we're all together as a family and just not exercise
Exactly.
at all. I'm going to prioritize my health by doing it in the morning. See, so there is ways to make health over everything and keeping all your family life and stuff intact and having fun as well too. Like you're going out on the weekends and going out to like do some fun stuff healthy wise. Like you're not going out there drinking and doing all these crazy things. You're out there, going to like Legoland or something with your family, but you're still getting that nutrition in and like meal prepping and doing your gym and stuff like that because you're putting health over everything. Doesn't mean you're not caring about your family either. So
Yeah.
that's one point that I got to make there about health over everything.
Yeah. And to add on that, by kind of focusing on your own health, you are going to be bringing a better version of you to your family. If you are, unhealthy, you're
Mhm.
lazy, you're sitting around, you're not motivated, you're doing nothing, I'm like, that individual doesn't have as much to bring to the table as someone who's more active, who's, willing to clean and wake up early to exercise. You're going to have more energy because you are exercising. So the more healthier version of you brings more to the table, and that's gonna help, increase the, I don't want to necessarily want to call it value, but it's gonna level up your family as well because you're kind of setting the bar like this is the baseline. We're healthy here. We have good energy. We're not lazy. We don't sit around and do nothing. We eat good. We exercise. Like you're kind of setting the bar and showing the your family the example. So,
Yes. Yeah. And then like we're both in our 40s too. So like if you're thinking someone like earlier in their 20s, health over everything, what does that mean to them?
mhm.
I would say too, like to them, like yeah, like a lot of younger kids, they could do anything. Like, when I was young, I could eat bad, I could smoke, I could drink, and still be ready to go. And like you're not feeling that deterioration, right? You got to keep upkeep. But it's also like just kind of like health of everything to them would be like, hey, like the future is coming, and also like yes, you might care about girls, you might care about partying a little bit, you might care about going out and building your life and experiencing life as a new young person. But that's also too is like you were saying, like health by prioritizing your health, you're prioritizing your health for long periods of time. You're mentally better, you're mentally more sharp, you're more physically sharp, you could do more things, you have more energy. Like some
Mhm.
people like younger, they go and put their career and their money as a top priority. That's their number one value, right?
Yeah.
But they don't understand, then they let their health deteriorate and then it catches up to them before they know it. They're like, whoa, I'm unhealthy. I got to go to the doctor. I got to go spend money on pills and stuff. And I think there's a quote, I think it was Gandhi. Who was the quote by that says, people give up their health for money and then give up their money to regain their health. Do you know who that? It's like
I'm not 100%
Buddha
sure. I have heard that one before
as
though.
Gandhi. But
Like,
yeah, so people like in their young age, they go and they don't care about their health. They're like eating AM PM food and just eating shit food all day, and then just whatever, and then drinking on the weekends, whatever, and just doing everything they can to make money. Well, then
mhm.
eventually their health starts deteriorating, and then they take all that money they made and go to the doctors and go
Yeah,
figure out how
get
to
back
cure
into
their
your
health.
health.
So that's what the point is for the younger people as well is hey, prioritize your health so then you could build up that money and you could keep it and it can compound later on in the future and you're not going to the health problems
Yeah,
because I was just researching recently like this weekend on health issues costs a normal person a extra person about $1,500 a year in money just by going to doctor visits and stuff. And then obviously diabetes and them like liver, like the surgeries you got to do, you're missing time
yeah,
and all this other stuff. And like most of the time when you go to the hospital, you start getting into like into the system where you have to keep going back and you get used to it. So you don't
yeah,
want to get into that into the pills and the pills have side effects and stuff. So this is why
exactly.
you're prioritizing health above everything because it could cost you a lot more in the future as well with the money wise aspect of it.
Yeah, going talking about like the medical aspect of it, like why wait until you get a diagnosis when if you're living a bad lifestyle, like sooner or later it's gonna catch up with you. So why wait to the point where you're having a pain and you got to go to the doctors and he tells you, all right, well, you've been eating like shit for the last 10, 20, 15, whatever years, and now you have cancer or you have some sort of disease Why wait for that to happen when if you're hearing this, you're
Yep.
an opportunity where you could just decide that I'm going to change my life today, right now. All the bad stuff that I've been doing, I'm going to cut it out and change myself right now. Like, don't wait to the diagnosis. Start now. And, that's the whole thing, like preventative care. Don't get into the
Yeah.
system of having to rely on pills. If you're young, you probably don't need all that stuff. So
Yeah.
take care of your body. So, it's going to take care of you later in life.
Yeah, that's so true too. Like that's a good point because health over everything also too is like you you can change anything. Like you can change right now. If you were severely overweight or if your metabolic health is messed up, trust me, I was overweight. I was 230 pounds and I really felt my metabolic health was really messed up. And you could see it change. Like I used to smoke all the time. And
Hmm.
when I first stopped smoking, I smoked for long periods of time. And then I was like, oh man, my lungs are damaged. For the first
Hmm.
month I stopped smoking, you could still feel like now you're starting to cough up kind of like the phlegm and stuff that's breaking up inside your lungs and it
Yeah.
feels like you're still unhealthy and it almost feels like I'm never going to get healthy. It's not working. It's been like that's one thing when you live an unhealthy lifestyle for so long, boom, there you go. Now you feel like you start living this healthy lifestyle, using being a whole lifer, boom, now you're like thinking like, oh, this ain't working, like I still don't feel good. But after consistency, after a few months, it does get better. Now I feel tremendously better. My lungs feel better. I can breathe better. Like your body has a miraculous way of healing itself. It's a miraculous machine. It will heal
Mhm.
itself if you do the right things. And if like the same thing with food, if you start counting your calories and you start like wearing a watch like I do and see what you're burning, if you're doing less, if you're eating less calories and you're burning, you start seeing it, the pounds come off, and then eventually you start
Yeah.
losing weight, and you start feeling like you think that you need that energy drink to get energy. Actually, you start getting more energy once you start getting your sleep and started living a healthy lifestyle. You start seeing over like months, like a couple months in time, boom, I have way more energy. I feel so much better. And it's, so it's crazy. Like you can get better.
Yeah, of course. One thing I do like about I think it kind of goes hand in hand with working out is by having, I'm gonna say, you don't have to have the six pack, but someone that works out and that has a six pack, you kind of will know just by looking at them like that individual is disciplined because you don't get that just by accident. It just doesn't have, oh, you wake up one day and you're shredded, you got all these muscles, you got the six pack. Like you can just tell by looking at that individual that that person is disciplined. That person goes to the gym on a consistent basis. That person has probably got their nutrition dialed in. They're not eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I think working out plays like a big role in developing your discipline, and it helps build that discipline the more, consistent you can stay with it.
Yes. And one other thing I want to do about prioritizing your health over above all else, like
Mhm.
health over everything. I hear a lot of people say like you're gonna die anyways. That's what I hear all the time. You're gonna die anyways. Like don't live in a bubble. Live a little bit. Like there's like you want to have some fun. Well,
Yeah.
like first of all, if you're already like past 40, you had a lot of time. You had 40 years of
Yeah.
having fun. Like you had so much fun. Doesn't it get monotonous? Like how much
Yeah.
fun do you have to have? Like you just like people say like live a little in your 40s, like it's like, oh, trust me, I lived.
Yeah. That's
I did a
exactly
lot
my
in
viewpoint
my
on it.
20s, like that was crazy. And what did it bring me? It bring me overweightness, it bring me bad lungs, it could give me cancer and all this stuff. Like who knows what it could do down the line. But at the end of the day, you're like it's not about how long you live. It's about how, like they say, the lifespan. It's about your health span. It's about when you turn 40s, 50s, 60s. So if you're 40 and you're already can't bend over to tie your shoes, what kind of life is that? You say that you're having fun and you care about your family, you love your family, but you can't go out there and even run around and have fun, like, and go on a hike, run around, throw the ball with your family because you're out of breath, right? You're like,
Yeah.
or like you can't go hang out because you're in the hospital because you're having a surgery for a hernia or something because you can't bend over right, or you're going in for metabolic health, you're on all these pills, you get side effects, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's about health span. So when you turn into your 40s and then into your 50s and 60s and 70s, people say like, "Well, you're already old." Well, not really, because I see 70-year-olds, like 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds that are really going after it and having a great time. Like me and you went on a hike on Joshua Tree. There was these like 70-year-old woman and man
Yeah.
married. They were happy as hell, walking right by us, moving all fast, outrunning, outpacing us, and they
Yeah.
were doing great. And like that's a health span. You want to be able to be able to live life. You love life so much, right? Like life is fun. Like you want to enjoy it all. Well, do you just think that at some point you're just gonna not gonna want to enjoy it anymore? At 60, you're just like, oh, I'm 60. I don't want to enjoy life anymore. No, you want to still enjoy life into your 60s, 70s, all the way until as far as you can until you actually die. Yes, we're all going to die. That's obviously true. But at the end of the day, you want to live life and have that health span as long as possible so you could feel good. You could like be able to do things and be active and go see the world and do things instead of being overweight, unhealthy, going to the hospital all the time, taking these pills, getting these side effects, like having heartburn, all these things that come along with it, living unhealthy. That's what you don't want. So it's not all health over everything. It isn't about trying to live to 200 years old, 120 years old, or even to 80 or 90, because we're all going to die. Health over
Yep.
everything is about living the most fulfilling life as possible by being able to have that health to being to living life and enjoying life, and that's what it's all about, in my opinion. Is why we do living that whole life.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. You want to have the quality of life as well. Like, what's the point of living to 100 if 40 of those years you were in the bed those last 40 years? Like, that's not, like you're saying, it's not much of a way to live, in my opinion. So if you focus on your health now, you're going to have, it's going to be more probable that you're going to be active into your later years. I've seen videos of females and males in their 60s and 70s still lifting weights, still doing pull-ups, and, still getting after it, and it's because they prioritize, their physical health.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
funny.
not above everything else, but it was a definitely a priority. Or if not, they wouldn't have been able to do that. They'd be in the wheelchair having someone push them around. But there are active older people out there, and it's because they took care of their health. That's
Yeah.
basically that simple.
Yeah, and it's like the people that are saying like, "Oh, you're gonna die anyways. Live and enjoy life." Okay, well, how about this? I'm gonna live to 90. You're gonna live to 80. My health started deteriorating at 85. I had 5 years, 85 to 90, where I couldn't do much things. You died at
Mhm.
80 instead of 90, like I did, but you had 20 years of being unhealthy. So you were unhealthy from 60 to 80. You couldn't live life. What is a better thing? Like we both died anyways, but you lived 20 years of unhealthiness in and out of the hospital, like metabolic health, feeling like shit every day, can't even bend over to tie your shoes, like can't breathe right, waking up in the middle of the night, can't get good sleep because you have sleep apnea because you're so
Yeah.
overweight, like your fat is just clogging in your throat. And I lived to 85, living a nice, healthy life, going on hikes, having fun, going, seeing the world, traveling. And then at the last 5 years, then I got whatever dementia or something or like cancer and then died, right? So
Mhm.
that's what it's all about right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for my dad, my sister used to tell me, just thinking about, because he died when he was 53, and she would actually say, like, it's probably good that he died when he did, because if he made it into his older years, he would have run into all these health issues, and basically it would be no way to live.
Yeah.
Being having to go to the doctors, your liver going out, needing pills, needing surgeries. Like, she's like, it's probably better he went out the way he did, because if he
Yeah.
was alive today, he'd probably just have a ton of health issues and just be suffering pretty much.
Yep. And that goes with the thing with other people say, oh, well, you want to live it up and die young. Well, that's the thing. You don't love your family then because now you died at 53. Like, I'm not saying your dad didn't love his family, but at the end of the day, like, if you just thought about it a little bit and just kind of like, hey, maybe if I prioritize my health and then then I wouldn't have to die at 53. I could be there for my family and also have some enjoyment with them as well. He could have seen his grandson and been so much, like different things, but at the end of
Yeah,
the day, like people just think like it's just funner, just like, oh, let me just drink and have fun and just eat like shit and then die at 55, like that's not,
yeah. And I
like you're
think
missing
people,
out on so much life.
yeah. And I don't think people really think about it. It's almost like everyone has that mentality where like it's not going to be me. Like I'm the one that's going to be able to smoke and drink for years and years and years, and nothing is going to happen to me. I'm going to be that outlier. I feel like it's a common perspective a lot of people have. And then, they're surprised when they get these health issues when they get older, like, oh shit, like now
Yeah.
I have lung cancer. Why do
Why'd it happen
maybe
to
I shouldn't
me?
have smoked so much, but you knew back when you were smoking that, it was likely you ended up in this scenario that you catch yourself in. So that's kind of why we go back, like start when you're young and, focus on your health so you don't end up into, having these lifestyles that's kind of built around a disease or built around a disability. Like you don't want to have that quality of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like, why me? Why?
You knew,
Uh,
but you knew what you were doing.
yeah, exactly. Like I had
You
someone
can't
on
you can't play the victim card forever.
yeah, someone on X just recently said like, "Oh, I tell my friends that smoke and all the time and drink like, hey, like, why do you like, that's bad for you?" Like, "Oh yeah, I know it's bad for me." Yeah, you know it's bad for you. You know what that means? That you can die, that you're gonna suffer. You know what that means? Like, like I remember someone told me that one time when I was smoking a cigarette. He was a respiratory therapist, and this is back in my early 20s. Like, he's like, "Oh, you see the people that I see in my thing, like that's bad. You need to stop smoking." I'm like, "I'll just die. I don't care. I don't die. I'll just die." But it's just like, oh man, at that time I was like, "Oh, I'll just live fast, die young." But
Yeah.
then the thing is, like, your body's really resilient when you're young, and then you live to 40, and you're like, well, now I'm too old to die young. Now I want to live forever. Now I want to live a long time and have a healthy life. Like I'm not about that life anymore, kind of thing. But so anyhow, that's what health over everything is all about, right there. Our number one principle is just prioritizing your health above all for all those
Yep.
reasons. And then number two, let's switch gears to number two, is what health over everything is all about. It's all about discipline and mindset. And that's a huge part into playing a role into the overall health of your life. So, yes, we want to prioritize health over everything, but we do that through discipline and mindset. And that goes with a lot of things of just doing what you're supposed to do every day and having the
Mhm.
mindset that you can do it and fortitude, that strong mindset. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I feel like your mindset is really big. You could probably lump in maybe perspective with that too. But, we live in such a society where I feel like everyone wants everything to kind of be easy. And when you start working out, you start trying to eat better, like it's challenging because, it could be difficult. And since it's difficult, most people fall back into their old ways of being because that's what they're comfortable with, that's what they're used to, and they don't want to push themselves outside of that comfort zone. But if you could kind of learn to embrace that, have a mindset going into it, like, all right, this may be challenging, but that's the whole point of it. Like, that's what gives it the value. And, if being healthy was easy, we wouldn't have an obesity problem. Everyone would just be walking around, being able to run and climb and jump and do everything. But that's not the way it is. It's much easier to sit down, have some food delivered to you, and just sit there and eat it and not have to do any kind of activity whatsoever. But doing the hard stuff, in my opinion, is what gives it its value. It's what makes it worthwhile. And, it's fulfilling when you do something that's difficult and challenging and you're able to push yourself. Like, even if you've had, like, in your mind, like, man, I didn't think I was going to be able to get through that workout, or I didn't think I was going to be able to run the mile. When you do it, you feel good because you're like, hell yeah, like, I actually did something that I thought I wasn't capable of.
Yep.
And that kind of helps, strengthen your mindset. Like, well, what else can I do that I'm like hiding from or not pushing myself towards? So I think you kind of, once you start to focus in on your health, like your mindset and your discipline start to grow with it, especially if you're consistent and you stick with it, it's going to start to stack up and add on to those layers. And, eventually you get to the point where you're just more disciplined than you ever thought you could be.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, discipline. If you want to be a whole lifer and be part of the whole life crew, living that whole life, you definitely have to build your discipline and mindset. That's the one of our, second principle right here, core thing. And
Mhm.
it's like you're saying, like when you first start and you first start living that health over everything in life, um, you don't have to be completely disciplined, but your mindset has to be looking towards it. Like I'm gonna like your mindset comes first. Mindset comes with everything. Well, no matter what you
Yeah.
want to do, you want to be like when I want to become rich, first thing I had to do was switch my mindset. I used to be called your bad influence. That was my name. That was like my mindset. And then I switched my mindset for my nieces. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a lot better person. So first thing went is my mindset. I said to myself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a better person. And boom, then I started doing the actionable things in order to become a better person. So mindset's first, but then you start building the discipline. And like you say, it's a learnable trait. It's a it's just like it's something that you have to work towards every single day.
Yeah.
So like
Like a
yes,
muscle.
yeah, you might say like your mindset, like I'm gonna start living that whole life. I want to be like Aaron and Steven and SoCal Galea. I'm gonna start being a whole lifer. And so what do? First, you got to get that mindset, and then you start doing the discipline. Then you start saying like, okay, well, how do I do that? Well, I need to go to the gym I need to start going to the gym. So then you start going to the gym like one time a week. Now that's, you just get with that discipline. I'm not the discipline of doing it one time a week. And
Yeah.
then you say, okay, now I'm going to do 2 times a week, and then just stick with that. Doing what you say that you're going to do and doing it all the time. That's
Hmm.
the building of the discipline. And eventually, like you say, it's going to get better and better, and you're going to become stronger and stronger, and your discipline is going to get better and better. And then you're going to be a beast. You're going to be formidable. You're going to be like, wow, look who I am now. I'm someone that doesn't give in to temptations, doesn't give in to the things like that. Just like yesterday, I was driving home from work. I instantly just seen at the corner of my eye Juan Pollo, and I was like, oh, I want to eat Juan Pollo, but I was already over my calories, already exactly the amount of calories I was supposed to eat. And then I was
Hmm.
just like, oh man, maybe I should just go. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, wait, I'm not gonna be true to health over everything. I'm gonna be a fraud. I'm gonna be a fake. I gotta stick to this discipline. And then I just drove right by it and went home. And there we go. That's that discipline from practicing. Because before I wouldn't have done that. Like sometimes I would have just, oh, I'm just gonna go do it anyhow. I'll just get back on it tomorrow. But then I know
Yeah.
like consistency and discipline is what makes a whole lifer. It makes you strong. You get the six pack, what I'm trying to do, and get strong. So I didn't do it. And that's just at first I wouldn't have done it, but now I did it. So it's like just building up that discipline. And I'm still going to try to build up more discipline. And, like I went to the gym 6 times this week. Most of the times I would only went three. I came home from work, I would be tired. And I'd be like,
Hmm.
I'm not going to go today. I'll just relax. But I didn't do it this week. I'm still going to go. So it's just like you build up that discipline. And that's a huge part of the whole life.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a common battle that people are gonna have. Like you're gonna have a lot of those battles or a lot of those wars with yourself where you're fighting with those temptations, but it's all up in your head. Like, that's what it's gonna boil down to. So that's why, we say your mindset is so important because you got to realize that if you're a type of person who enjoys eating a lot of sweets and you can't control
Me.
yourself, you are gonna be you're gonna come up and meet that part of yourself at some point in your weight loss journey or your fitness journey. You're gonna have that war like, I want to eat the cookies. So like you got to have the mindset and kind of the discipline to tell yourself, no, that is who we used to be, but we are trying to live this more healthy lifestyle. And you can't just have one. So if you have one, you're gonna eat the whole damn box. And I feel like that's the hardest part is those little wars because you're gonna have a bunch of those with yourself. Like I had a bunch of those with myself too. Eventually getting to the point to where I'm at right now. Like I feel like my discipline is pretty good, but it wasn't always like that. Like
Yep.
especially like I'll give you guys an example with the whole vaping thing. Like for me, it was hard for me to stop because I just built a habit around it, and there'd be certain times where I was used to doing it. So when I didn't have it, it was like my body's telling me like, "What are you doing? We're usually smoking around this time. Where are those chemicals at?" Like,
Yeah.
and I would have that battle with myself, like, oh damn it, I wish I had one. Like, oh, should I get one after work? And so I know exactly what it's like. It's hard to overcome those aspects of yourselves, but if you got the right mindset and you're disciplined, like you can get through it. You just got to stick to it and have that goal in mind.
Yeah, battling your mind is just like the number one thing that you got to do, and that's where the discipline comes in because like your mind and your body just wants to go back to baseline all the time, or your baseline
Yeah.
is like, okay, my baseline is comfort, my baseline is like eating whatever I used to eat or stuff like that, and so once you get that discipline, your baseline raises a little bit. So now like you go back to that, and it's like as more discipline you get, the more your baseline goes up, and that's what you want to like do is just build that baseline higher and higher and better and better. So like your baseline might have been just going eating good one day a week and going to the gym one day a week. And then you keep doing that discipline over time, your body gets to the new baseline. And now it's like, oh, now my baseline is going to the gym 4 times a week and eating good like 5 times a week. Or just,
Mhm.
eating only one cookie per week or something like that. Because no one's perfect, but you try to just get as best you can and like build that discipline over time.
Yeah, especially in the beginning, you should probably cut yourself some slack because, it's going to be a bumpy road. You don't want to, talk so bad about yourself that you just end up quitting like, oh, it's too hard. Like, it's so hard that I know I'll never be able to do it because then, obviously you quit and you don't get to your goal. So maybe in the beginning, I can understand cutting yourself some slack, just all right, one day a week, and then if you slip up that day, be like, all right, messed up that week, but let's try again this week. And then eventually, by keep trying and just staying at it, getting back on the horse, like you're gonna get to your goal. It's inevitable if you don't give up. But if you do give up, obviously, that's the end of the road for you.
Yeah, and then that's where the mindset comes in with the discipline. The mindset is don't give up. You never give up. No matter if you fall off the horse, You were doing good for a month and you fell off for 4 months. You get back on. You never say you give up. You're always going to say in your mind, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this no matter what. Even if I fail, no matter what happens. Once you say you give up, you fail, you're no longer a whole lifer. You'll never be a whole lifer. So you can never give up. That's one thing that my mindset is I'm always going to do it. We both fell off here many times, even in the winter here just passed. Like we fell off for a
Hmm.
little bit. We got back on it. We not once we're saying we're going to give up. That's just not in fucking vocabulary. I never gave up in my life. So you just got to keep trying and keep battling and you just keep building that mental fortitude. That's what discipline will do. And like another thing too is the motivation. Like a lot of people like will see this podcast, get motivated. They'll listen to some YouTube video and get motivation. Motivation is only temporary. Discipline is what actually you need because you're not always going to be motivated. You're not going to like some days
Exactly.
you're going to be not feeling that good and you're going to but that discipline is what keeps you going. So that's why discipline is so strong because I might not feel like going to the gym today, but I'm going to go because I was tired at work and but I'm going to go. Like the kids are nagging me, but I'm still gonna go, because
Mhm.
that's where the discipline goes because that's where the results are. The bridge from where you want to go, from where you're at to where you want to go is discipline. It's a discipline bridge, and that's what you need to get over. So that's what discipline's all about.
Yep. And that might actually, I don't know the exact definition, but that might be the definition of discipline is to do all those things that you don't necessarily want to do because that's when you need it the damn most. Like those days where you wake up and you're tired. Oh, I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't get enough this, that, or the other thing. I can skip the workout for the day. Like, no, no, you can't. Like, that's
Nope.
the part where you got to say, no, we're doing this. I don't care how you feel. We are going to do it regardless. Like, and the more times you do that, like we were saying, it's like a muscle. The stronger your discipline gets, then you get to the point where you don't even have to think about it. Like, we're going to work out. It doesn't matter how I feel or what we're doing or what's going on in the day. We're going to get it done because that's what we do. Like,
Yes,
that's
sir.
just how it is.
Yep, discipline and mindset. That's the big part of being a whole lifer. And number three, our thing is just working out and staying active. That's another big part of the whole life and what we're all about here at Health Over Everything.
Hmm.
You work out all the time. I work out all the time. We stay active. You don't have to sit there and go to the gym and just be like a gym rat because some people don't like going to the gym. You could
Exactly.
just, but stay active, like move around. Like the sedentary lifestyle is what harms so many people. Like
Hmm.
just if you
Exactly.
sleep way too much, like I prioritize sleep a lot. But if you sleep 10, 12 hours a day, that means you're just doing nothing. Like, sleep 8 hours, but just sitting around on the couch watching TV, like every March Madness game's going on, every football game, every baseball game, every politic thing's going on because you're just sitting on the couch all day. That's fucking up your brain first of all, like because you're thinking of everything that's going on, and then you're just sitting there. Your heart's not pumping, it's not getting that work. That's where cardiovascular disease and all this comes in. So many diseases happen because of sedentary lifestyle. So to prioritize your health and health over everything, you got to work out, you got to stay active.
Yep. And like Aaron said, you may not necessarily enjoy going to the gym. Well, go for a walk, go for a hike, do something outdoors, even if it's just walking, that's still, better than just sitting there doing nothing. And it's like I'm reminded when I was living with my cousin, there was this older Asian couple. They would just, we'd be outside doing whatever, and I would just see them walking, doing laps around the block. But I'm like, I don't know how old this lady was. She could have been in her 80s, maybe even like 90s, but that's probably why she is able to walk because she actually does it. If you don't use it, you lose it. And she would just make it part of her routine to do. I don't even, I wouldn't sit there and count, but she would do laps and laps and laps around the block, just simple walking, nothing strenuous. She didn't have weights. She wasn't walking at a fast pace, but it was at least something to keep her active.
Yeah, and I live in a nice community here, and like every evening, I see so many people out there walking. Like a lot of people have dogs. If you're overweight and you have a dog, well, what are you doing? Go out there for a walk. Walk your dog. Like just get that movement around. That's like, obviously you're not going to be running a marathon or something to begin with, but just going out and walking your dog for a little bit, like that could be something that helps you burn some calories, start getting a little bit active. That could get the ball rolling into the right direction of living a healthy lifestyle. So it's like so just get active, like, and then maybe go for a hike. Like I love hiking. That's one of my things. Like,
Mhm.
like I did run marathons. You could find little events. Like if you're living an unhealthy lifestyle and you're looking for a community of people, there's plenty of people online. There's SoCal hikers where I live out on Facebook page or whatever, and there's also on Instagram. Boom, there you can meet people and say, hey, anybody want to go and hike with me? Somebody will want to go on a hike with you. There you go. Now you got a new friend to go hike with. Now you're not chilling with the people that are drinking and smoking and partying all the time. Now you're going out with somebody, and I just met somebody, a little group, like you could go
Mhm.
on 3K runs, 5K runs, like there's these things that all the time. Just search 3K in my area, 5K. in my or 5K or 10K in my area, and then go in there, and then there's a bunch of people doing that. Then you're like, oh man, you're just around people that are about health and about that lifestyle and their active lifestyles. And you could, if you're comfortable, you could go up and talk to some of them and meet a couple new friends, and but you're just in there in that community. So there's different things you could do. Then, or you could just sit there and just do stuff at your house, do jumping jacks at your house, like buy a treadmill and just run it at your house. Like you don't have, you have to leave your house if you don't want to, if you have
Yeah.
anxiety or something, but just try to, or if you just have a kid or something, go out there in the park, throw the ball around with them, like play tag with them or something, run around, like depending on how old they are or what you could do with them, like try to get, and then they're getting active as well. Take them on a little hike, or something. It doesn't have to be a strenuous hike, but just start getting that active lifestyle on. And that's what, health over everything is. You have to stay active. You can't be sedentary.
Yeah, too. Like you said too, I do my workouts from home. I'm not gonna say like I'm anti-social, but there's definitely people who enjoy being around other people more. And you could benefit from getting into a group and kind of have everyone in the group pushing each other. But for me, yeah, if you're not one of those type of people, just pick up some weights. You could go on the Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and find something for cheap, just anything where you could get your workout on. Like, I work out at home. I don't have to worry about, waiting for someone else to get off the equipment so I could work out. I have my routine that I do. I wake up, I do it, I knock it out in the beginning of the day, and then I'm good for the rest of the day. It could be something as simple as that. Like, you don't have to
Yep.
overcomplicate it.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I go to the gym, but it's just like I get inspired by that too. Like I see the hot girls in there, I'm like, damn, look at their bodies. Like I want to go, And I look at the dudes there too. Like look at how sculpted they are. I'm just like, it's like
Mhm.
inspiration to me, like seeing these guys, and like, damn, like what they do, and you kind of feed off of that. And be like, I want to look like that. How do I get like that? I got to go to the gym more in order to look like that. Or you could just see like what kind of exercises they're doing. Like if you don't
Yeah,
know about
exactly.
exercising, like I'm like, oh, that guy is pretty sculpted. Like let me like what he doing must work. So let me try to imitate that. And you go over there when no one's looking, and you kind of like do it, just test it out. I'm like, oh, that does work, and then you get better at it. And I like doing the runs and stuff too. Sometimes my knee's kind of messed up right now, but because you're just around other people that are just healthy lifestyle. Like I used to go to the bars all the time, and you're seeing people smoking and drinking. You're not now when you're at a 5K run,
Yeah.
everyone in there is like, oh, they're all about like the healthy lifestyle. So you're like you get that just like that feel, and that's kind of like in your lifestyle now, and it becomes your identity, and you become a whole lifer that way because now that's your identity. Like so that's a good way. But yeah, just stay active because you can eat good and stuff, which is very very important. That's what we'll talk about next here, but staying active is really like you have to have that. It helps lower your blood pressure. Like even if you go eat a meal, by going on a walk after, it already gets your blood like your blood glucose level down a little bit.
Mhm.
Your metabolism starts working better. You get better sleep, and by staying active, you burn more calories. So then if you're super active, then you could actually eat more. You could eat more healthy food. Instead of eating 2,000 calories, I eat 3,000 calories because I burn around 3,600 calories a day. Yeah. So now I can
Yeah.
eat more food because I'm more active. So, and then you could also you could get an active job too, like as well, something that's more active. If you're just sitting at a desk all day and you don't like your job, go look for a better job you're more active, that you move around and like do something outdoors or something like that.
Yeah.
There's many ways of just staying active.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to joke and tell people that, like, well, maybe it's like a half joke, but I'm like, if you enjoy eating, like, you need to work out because then you can eat even more. Like, the more muscle you have, the more calories you're burning at all times, like, even when you're sleeping. So if
Yeah.
you're an individual who likes to eat, like, get more muscle so you can eat more and you can still look and feel good as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. By actually growing your muscles and stuff too, by that's being active, like going to the gym and working out your muscles, the more muscle mass you have, the more energy your body, what is it? Your body takes more energy and your metabolism works more. So you actually burn more calories because your body needs more energy to what is it? Maintain those muscles.
Yeah,
So by just
exactly.
having muscles, you burn more calories while you're sleeping than if you're just fat. If you're a bunch of fat, you don't burn as much calories sleeping because you just burn calories just by living, like because your
Mhm.
body's a machine, and it's always working, it's always moving. So you're burning calories no matter what. But when you're sleeping and you have more muscles, boom, now you're actually burning more. So now you can eat more in the morning or in the afternoon throughout the day.
Yeah, and you'll actually notice too, when you start working out, you will be more hungry. When I was living with my cousin, I used to watch him. He would like wake up at 3 in the morning or something and go out and get like a bowl of cereal. Maybe not the most healthy thing you could have, but that was
Definitely
his
not.
thing. He would get up at 3 in the morning and have like a snack and then go back to sleep. That was his thing. And I'm like, why the fuck are you always eating at night? He's like, dude, I'm fucking hungry. I'm like, I work out a lot, and yeah, if I wake up and I'm hungry, like I'm gonna eat. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, if you are going to be eating not the best way you should, like at least be working out because you don't want to be eating bad and not working out. That's a double whammy. So, so yeah, so living that whole life. Number three is definitely working out and staying active. That's a big part of what health over everything is all about. So you want to prioritize, put health over everything, including your family, as we say.
yeah,
And then discipline, mindset, and then working out. And then the next thing is nutrition. Obviously, that is huge because
yeah, big
your
part.
body's a machine and you want to fuel it with the most, it runs off nutrients, and so you want to fuel it with the best things possible. Like I was, most of us are raised on the standard American diet. I know I was. I was eating stuff at the grocery store, a lot of microwavable burritos, a lot of TV dinners, and then a lot of fast food. So, and then I just was raised on that, so that's what I always just did. And then eventually, what happens? Now I have high blood pressure. I'm overweight. I have pre-diabetes, and luckily I switched it around and became a whole lifer and put health over everything. And now I'm doing so much better by eating grass-fed beef, vegetables, fruits, like nuts, grains, stuff like that. But now all that's gone. Like I'm losing, I lost weight. I'm building muscle by working out. Um, my metabolic health is getting a lot better. And
Nice.
who knows if I wouldn't have fucking done that, by the time I'm 45, 50, I could be having a stroke. I could be having a
Yeah,
heart attack. I could, going in for blood pressure meds and stuff like that that has adverse um, other what do you call it? Like effects on me, stuff like that.
yeah.
So nutrition is huge a part, and it also just gives you the energy to be more fulfilled and like living, have the energy to go exercise, to go do your work, to make your money, to have fun with your family, to go on hikes and live an active lifestyle. That energy is in your body. You really need that, and it's super important to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, nutrition it might be even more important than exercise if, for weight loss, maybe
Maybe we
even
should
your
have that as
health,
three instead.
yeah, maybe even your health in general. I'm not saying you shouldn't exercise, but all
Oh,
I'm
definitely.
saying is that you can exercise, do all the exercise in the world. If you're eating like shit and your calories are through the roof, like you're not gonna lose weight. That's just not how it works. Like, so getting your diet on point is, part of the process. It's another tool for the overall health. You want to be able to have foods that are going to sustain your energy levels and keep you satiated throughout the day too. That's why, having a little Snicker bars, I'm not even sure how many calories would be in the Snicker bars,
Like
but all
250
right.
calories for one Snickers bar.
I was gonna say I don't know why 250 was in my brain, but 250 calories. Most people are probably eating around 2,000 calories. Like that's a chunk out of your meals for the day. Like you can have probably some chicken breast, some veggies, and some potatoes or rice or something to equal 250 calories, and that's gonna keep you fuller for a longer period of time. So you're not looking like you have your Snicker bars
Yes.
and an hour later, like, oh, what else can I eat? Like you're going to end up eating too much and you're going to end up gaining weight. So nutrition is a big part. It's like they say, you can't out train a bad diet. And that's so true. Like if you're trying to lose weight, it doesn't matter how much exercise you're doing. If you're eating, too much, too many calories, like you're not going to lose weight. That's just how it works.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people like they hate on like counting calories. Like that's the number one thing people like always, I don't want to count calories. I'm just gonna eat healthier, which is fine. Like do that. Definitely do that.
Yeah,
But I think
that could
everyone
work.
should at least count calories for a certain period of time. Do it for a week, do it for a month, do it for a little bit. So like especially when you're first starting, when you're getting on a diet, what app do you use to count your calories, Steven?
My Fitness Pal.
My Fitness Pal, I use Fitbit app, but there's a thing on there. You just put food and you just put in. So try that out so you can at least see what you're eating. If you're eating McDonald's every day or eating fast food, put that in there. Put McDonald's double Big Mac, and then it'll show
Mhm.
you exactly. So you could at least see what you're eating. So if you're eating McDonald's breakfast, McDonald's Big Mac for lunch, and McDonald's for dinner, like let's just say, you'll see how much saturated fat you're eating. You'll see how many calories you're eating. It'll tell you. And then you'll see how many carbs you're eating, how much protein you're eating, and how much fat you're eating. So the nutrients is huge. So it's like just do it for a while and you see. So now you're seeing like, okay, I'm eating. And if you actually could get a watch, like I have a watch here, a Fitbit watch or Apple Watch, wear that for a while and you can see how much you're burning per day. So it will not only show you like if you're tracking your food, if you're eating 4,000, 5,000 calories a day, you can see that you're burning 3,000, and that's okay. That's 1,000 over, 2,000 over of calories. So you could at least know where you're at. You don't have to do it forever. You don't have to do it all the time,
Yeah.
but take some time to do it so you can see where you're going, and just do it with your current food that you're eating. And then if you're really about that life and you're actually a whole lifer and you switch up your diet and you're like, okay, let me track it. Then you're seeing like, okay, I'm burning 2,000, 3,000 calories. Let me eat. So now you're in the morning, you're putting your calories in there. Boom. Now you know that your breakfast is like 600 calories. So now you
Mhm.
know that you're burning 3,000, you have 2,400 calories left. So now you're kind of tracking like, okay, I can only eat so much. And then like once you start eating healthier, like you're eating the steak, the like you're saying the chicken breast and stuff, and you're putting that in there, now you can see what you're where you're at now. Like, oh, now my calories, I could eat a lot more, and my calories are a lot less because it's not processed foods, but now I have a lot less sugar per day. Now I'm having a lot less carbs and more protein. And you could see like you could kind of like mess with it a little bit like a mad scientist, as you say, Stephen, and like kind of see
Yeah.
where you're at. So now you're seeing where your health lies and stuff like that. Now you're like, oh man, I'm eating a lot less sugar and eating more protein. Now I'm feeling better. No, that's why.
Mhm.
And then after you get it kind of looked at it and see where you're at and what you're doing, then you could just kind of like, if you want, you could keep up with it. But if not, you could kind of like just eat those certain things. But keep like what is like you got to have some idea of what you're eating, what you're putting in your body. That's a huge part. You eat, everybody eats in this world. Not everyone has to work out. Not everyone has the genetics that you have or whatever, but everybody eats. So you should know what you're eating. You should know like how much salt you're intaking. Like how much salt are you intaking? Like are you eating 5,000 milligrams of salt per day? You only need 2,000 or 1,500, so like you're eating way too much salt, what's going to lead to high blood pressure, like how much sugar are you eating? Like are you don't even know. Like try to see how much sugar you're eating per day, track it and see, well, I'm eating so much sugar, I'm eating way much more. This is going to lead to diabetes. So it's like, so now you know where you're heading. I'm eating too much salt, I'm gonna have high blood pressure. Eating too much diabetes, or sugar, I'm gonna lead to diabetes. This is gonna lead to heart disease and stuff like that. So you can know where you're heading and how you can get better. So it's like the first part of any kind of thing is knowing. Like you got to know. You're educating yourself. That's what we're about too. But yeah, so educate yourself and know what you're eating, what's in your food, and how many calories you're eating per day by tracking it for a little bit. So then you can know where you're at and where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying, you don't have to track for the rest of your life, but I would at least do it, like you were saying, for a week or two, just because I think most people either underestimate or overestimate like what they're eating. You could look at, and eventually you'll get good at eyeballing. You'll see like even when I weigh my food out, I'll see I'll grab a piece of chicken, and if I have 175 calories, I'll try to grab a piece and see how close I could get to that 175, and I'm usually pretty accurate with it. And like you get good at eyeballing at some point. It's not going to be 100% accurate, even when you track your food and measure and all that. It's probably not 100% accurate, but it's going to be consistent. And if you get good at just realizing, like, all right, I can eat about this much chicken, I eat about this much veggies, this much, complex carbs, then you're going to be probably be good. But if you have no idea what anything is, like you could be eating under, which could be bad, or you could be overeating, which is going to help make you gain weight. But if you have no idea what's happening, like how can you make an adjustment with something you have no clue about? You have no
Yeah,
idea where you're even at. You have no
exactly.
baseline. So
Yep. Yeah, that's just so true because I'm sitting there thinking I was like when I first started eating healthy, I'm eating Subway every day, and all I would have is a wheat bread, chicken, just the chicken on it, regular chicken, and then nothing really else on it except for tomatoes and lettuce. Because I'm like, okay, that's all good stuff. Well, then you
mhm.
track it, boom, like you realize like Subway's chicken has a ton of salt in it, and I was feeling really shitty. Well, it was making my blood pressure spike every day because there's so much salt in it. So then I went home and just ate cooked chicken from the store and or even meats and stuff. And I was okay, way less salt. Now I feel so much better after I eat. And it's like so crazy nutrition. Like once you actually figure out like what's healthy and what's not, and just do your research about it. But also too, it's crazy too because when I first started eating good, like every time I would eat bad, I would eat like fast food restaurant and I would feel like shit. You're tired. Your blood pressure is going up. You get a sugar spike, and you're feeling like, oh man, I feel like I don't feel good. But then when I started eating healthy, I'm like, I would eat and I'd be like, what what is this? Why I'm feeling so weird right now. Like I feel actually good. Like I'm like expecting the bad feeling to come and it just didn't come. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, what the hell's happening here? And this is the power of eating good, like the power of eating whole good foods, real foods. It's like now you eat and you're like, well, I don't even feel bad. And
yeah,
and also you don't want to eat till you're, a lot of people eat till they're stuffed. You don't have to
yeah.
eat till you're stuffed. eat like, and once you're tracking calories too, you could see that as well. Like, okay, I only need this much of a meal, like, but you don't need to eat all your stuff. Like, like to me, just eating like a nice, good grass-fed steak ribeye, like you're saying, a purple potato or a regular sweet potato and some beans, that's a pretty good meal right there. And maybe some
Yeah.
broccoli. That's a pretty good meal. You could eat as much broccoli as you want because it's really low in calories. You could just, and it's, it's bigger, it's more, fluffy, so it fills up your stomach more. So that's good. Just to eat a bunch of broccoli along with your food, or even drink a big old glass of water before you eat. So like you kind of fill up your stomach a little bit so you could eat a little bit less. But like just by eating like that food, it's very fulfilling. You can eat more of it, and it's all I get the salt-free beans and stuff like that because you gotta like, oh, I don't want no salt. It's less, I don't want too much salt. Your body needs salt, but you don't want too much, especially the table
Yeah.
salt. And then that's what you do. Then now you feel like, oh man, I feel good after, and I don't feel all full, and I could like, just I'm ready to go. I could go to the gym right after and feel good and not feel all bloated and want to go take a nap. And now you're losing productivity. Now you're gaining productivity by eating good.
Yeah. Something that you said made me think too. Like if you've been eating bad for years and years and years, you may not realize how like good eating good makes you actually feel. If you've
Yeah.
just been like feeling bad is my baseline, yeah, you may have no idea what good is like. You may
Yes.
enjoy it once you start to eat healthy. You might get addicted. Like, oh, I like the way I feel. Like I feel more satiated. I'm feeling full. I have more energy, and it could be your new addiction just by trying it out. Like, oh, I started eating healthy and now I feel better. Like, hell yeah, let's keep on going with it.
That's crazy. Like your body is very adaptable and adapts to your bad diet and
Hmm.
feeling bad. So you don't even feel that that it's extremely bad. If you start eating good for months, like, and you're eating really, really good, and you eat bad like you used to, you feel it. Like you're like, whoa, what the hell? Like I remember like
Yeah.
just tasting one drink of like a sugar-free Gatorade. I'm like, this is like the sweetest thing I've ever tasted in my life. Like when I was drinking it, it just tasted normal. Like it wasn't sweet. But
Yeah.
after just drinking water for 3 months and drinking one of those things, I was like, this is the sweetest thing I ever tasted. Like I can't even drink the rest of it. It was so sweet. It's like your body's so adaptable. And that's why people don't even know what it's like to feel good. They're just thinking like, oh, it just tastes good, it feels good. But once you
Hmm.
start feeling good, it's like, whoa, man, I feel really good. And it's like, and then yeah, so it's awesome to do that.
Yeah,
So
that's one of the thing I noticed with my sleep because I've been getting pretty consistent sleep for a while now. But on the days where I don't get like I wish I could get 8, but at 7 seems like it's my number.
yeah,
Found out a way to get past that. But if I get like 5 or 6,
seven's
like
good.
I notice it for like 2 to 3 days. I'm just like,
Me
man,
too.
I'm dragging ass. I'm yawning a lot. I feel like I'm just a
Yep.
little sluggish. I'm just not where I feel like I'm optimal. And
Yeah.
it'll be like that for like 2 days. It seems like it'll take me 2 days to kind of catch back up to like, all right, I'm
Yeah.
feeling good again.
Yeah. So that brings us to number five of our health over everything. What are we all about? Health over everything, living that whole life is sleep. Like all other aspects of health, really. Sleep,
Yeah.
low stress, avoiding toxins, and laughter and fun. Like just these are other aspects of health of everything that we just really important in our life. Like I always say, sleep is number one. You get 7 hours a day. That's amazing. That's great. Like I usually get seven too. But it's funny because
Mhm.
like I use my watch and I'll be in bed for 8.5 hours, but it says I got seven because it says you're awake like throughout the night, like you wake up here, wake up there,
Yeah.
which I don't really feel. So I'm in bed for 8.5 hours, but I get around seven, which is pretty
Okay.
good. But like what you're saying, once if I don't get enough sleep, it's like, oh man, I literally prioritize sleep over everything because that was like my baseline of health. Because like you're saying, once you don't feel that good, you don't get enough sleep, you get tired, and when you're tired, you get your stress levels rise and your
Yeah.
cortisol level rise and all this stuff. Your hormones are different, and then you're stressed, and we want low stress. Stress is a killer.
Hmm.
But like by getting that good sleep, you lower your stress and you have the energy to go work all day and go work out. I go work all day and then I go work out, or you work out first and then go to work. And then you have the time to like get everything you need done. Your mental clarity is much better. Your body gets that time to like fix all its cells inside of its body, and like you need sleep. Like it's very important.
Hmm.
People say, "Oh, I could run off a 4 or 5, whatever do you?" But in my opinion and what my experience is, like seven is great, eight's even better. But anything over eight, maybe especially over nine, is too much for me. Like you don't want too much sleep. But
Yeah.
like sometimes I'll be like today, like you were talking about the discipline. I'm going to the gym today. I'm doing my thing, but I'm super tired. I feel exhausted. Like I know that I'm lacking in sleep. I'll just be
Yeah.
like, nope, I'm going to sleep today. I have to rest. Like because that's my body telling me like, hey, you're getting stressed out. Like your hormone levels aren't right. You're not so like I'll just like okay today I'm going to sleep. I even put my earplugs in so I don't hear anything. Nothing wakes me up, and I make sure I get a good sleep. So because that's what like I'm like I'll just go work out tomorrow because I have to get that sleep because like your whole body runs on that. Like your body's telling you, it tells you things. When you eat
Yeah.
bad, they'll tell you like you start feeling that metabolic health, like you start feeling like shit, and you start getting heartburn and stuff. Like that's your body telling you you're eating bad. If you're feeling really tired, that's your body telling you that you need sleep. So listen to your body and do what it says. Like that's what's priority is. If you need sleep, yeah, maybe you should go to the gym, but your body's telling you what you need. Listen to that motherfucker, yeah, and go to
Yeah.
sleep and get that sleep because it's telling you like it's like this is what I need. I'm telling you straight up.
Yep, and they actually say too, if you're not getting enough sleep, and example, if you're trying to build muscle, like when you're sleeping, that's when your body is doing the building process and doing the repairing. So
Hmm.
if you're working out and busting your ass in the gym and eating good, but you're only getting 4 hours of sleep, like you're just, you're kind of handicapping yourself.
Great point.
You want to get as much sleep as you could get, especially, I would say not even if you're just trying to build muscle, but all aspects of life, you really want to make sure you're getting as much sleep. But I've seen people like, well,
Great
I'm
point.
doing all this, I'm eating all this food, I'm doing my workouts, but I'm not gaining the weight. And, I feel like a number one question is like, well, how much sleep are you getting?
Yep.
Like, are you actually tracking your food? Are you weighing it out to make sure you are really getting those amount of calories? So yeah, sleep is super important. And like you were saying too, like I'll notice when I do not get enough sleep, I'm just more short with things. Like my stress level is a little bit more on the edge. Like somebody cutting me off might, get me worked up for a second. Like
Mhm.
little things will start to set you off because
Yeah, totally.
you're like disgruntled already. Like, man, I didn't
Yeah.
get enough sleep. I'm not happy. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Low stress, like all aspects, this level of this part of health of everything in life, living that whole life is all aspects of health. Like, and that's low stress too. Like my dad, like he died of a heart attack, and a lot of it was from stress. He had major stress levels. Like his kid, was my other brother, like was doing some bad things. I don't want to talk about that, but
This kid.
yeah, yeah, my brother. But like he just stressed out about work, about family life, and all this other stuff, which a lot of people are. They're stressed out
Yeah.
about work. They're stressed out about life. Like, so you got to figure out ways to lower that stress. Obviously, eating well lower stress because now your body isn't fighting back. Like getting enough sleep is lowering stress because like yeah, maybe you can't battle that fucking asshole at work, but you can battle eating well and getting that sleep and working out and relieving that stress working out. Making sure you have enough energy by eating right and sleeping. And that will help lower the stress and you kind of know how to, you're at least lowering it in the ways that you can handle. Like you
Yeah.
maybe need to go find another job as well, like because your life could be online because you could die from stress. And then avoiding toxins. Like, yes, you might want to have a beer here and there, like one of our things is like laugh and have fun. Yes, you want to live life. You want to laugh and have fun. That definitely lowers stress. Hanging out with your friends, having a great time, that definitely is amazing. And that helps you in overall health, your mental health, like your stress levels, everything. It's good to vent and have like talk to people and like just
Yeah.
experience life with other people. That's a very important part. But so sometimes you might want to have a beer with your friend and that's just part of the camaraderie and like but you want to avoid toxins as much as you can. Like if you want to have a beer with your friend here and there, go ahead, like whatever. Like we're not saying not to, but try to not be over a drunk. Try not to be. At some point it becomes a problem. Like you drinking too much is a problem. You don't want to
Yeah.
drink two or three or four or five. And then also smoking, that's a toxin. You don't want to smoke. Like there's nothing really good that comes to smoking cigarettes for sure. So weed,
Yeah.
a lot of people say they love weed or whatever. It does THC does have medical benefits. So does CBD. But smoking is going to be bad for your lungs and it's going to make you wheeze. Like I used to wheeze when I smoked weed all the time.
Hmm.
Like and you don't that ruins your sleeping. It like clogs your lungs up. So now you can't sleep and breathe as good. Maybe you need to take an edible or something. Like avoid toxins, especially like things that you can't control. There's so many toxins in your soap and your chemicals and things that you spray at your house. Like and like your sunblock and like just all these other things. Try to look at everything and just avoid as many toxins as you can because anything you put in your skin gets absorbed into your skin and that could go into your pancreas or your liver and stuff like that and cause cancers. So,
Yep.
like down the line. So just try to avoid all toxins, lower your stress, and also just go out there and have fun.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I read recently about, people who use weed to like, oh, I can't fall asleep unless I'm high.
Yeah.
Um, they're actually saying that when you're high and you sleep, it doesn't allow you to get into that like deep REM sleep. And in the article was like, and that's why when you wake up, you still feel tired
Oh,
because
okay.
you really, even though you were sleeping, you weren't like in that deep rest that you need. So in the long run, like it's actually a negative. Like yes, you
Yeah.
can fall asleep, but you're not getting a quality night's rest, and that's why you wake up and you're kind of like, I'm sure you feel like groggy. You just don't feel like you're ready to take on the day. You kind of wake up, you're more slow. You're like you want to stay in bed. I want to sleep more. Um, but that was interesting. I'm like, because I was like, that's kind of true. Like I remember waking up just like sluggish,
Yeah.
and
Me too.
when I did stop, it was hard for me to fall asleep. Only for like the first week though. So if you are like if you do use it for sleeping, you're trying to stop, like keep in mind that that first week, falling asleep is going to be a bitch. But after you get past that, you get back into like a regular like baseline. It resets and then you're good again. But if you start smoking again, you'll kind of get to that point where you're dependent on it to fall asleep, and then it could be a vicious cycle.
Yeah. That's another thing too. Like I use my watch, I use it for sleeping all the time. I check my sleep. And I
Hmm.
think I'm not sure of this, you might have to Google it, but they say like 20% of your sleep you want in a deep REM. I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I think it's something like that. So it shows you your light sleep and your REM sleep. And you want to get like 20% of your time in the deep sleep. And that's when you're getting the good
Yeah.
enough time. I think it's like an hour and a half or something out of 7, 8 hours. So you want that deep REM sleep. That is where you get most of your repair and all that stuff. Like so there's different aspects of like the light sleep and the REM sleep of what you get. So that's a good way to track it too. Like I like tracking everything,
Hmm.
just to see where you're at. And that's a good thing about these little watches. Yeah, so sleep is as well, like that's a good point as well. But at the end of the day, just like, like people's like health over everything, that's what we're all about, the whole life. And people just think like, oh man, it just sounds horrible. Like that sounds like just a shitty life. Like you're just living all healthy, you're not having no fun, you're not experiencing stuff. But no, it could be a lot of fun. Like you want to go out there and laugh and have fun and like just you got to meet other people like that. That's why we're a whole life. We're like a and that brings us to the next point, community and education. Like we're about community and education. That's what health over everything is all about because a lot of people do say healthy lifestyle isn't fun. Well, we're making the whole life. You're a whole lifer. I'm a whole lifer. We're all whole lifers that's listening to this. If you're listening to this, you're a whole lifer. Go get a shirt on SoCalGulag.com.
Yeah.
But anyhow, a whole life shirt but just to show that you're part of the community but like also like we're having fun together like you could go like it's fun to challenge each other like hey Steven, let's go see who could run like it doesn't have to be a fucking marathon, let's go see who could run down the block faster. And it's just
Yeah.
like that's fun, like it's just a challenge, like let's go hike together, let's just go, then we could go, we could talk about our lives when we go on a hike. We go on these long hikes, 8 hour hikes.
Yeah.
So we go on 8 hour, what do? We sit there and talk the whole time, we laugh, we have fun, we see nature, we eat some healthy food up there. Like there's a bunch of things. You can go to the gym and like go spot somebody. Like, let's go to the gym. I'll spot you, you spot me. You can work out together. But there's a lot of other things in life that you could do. Like, like we could go to a concert. We don't have to go, and enjoy music. We don't have to go over there and put toxins in our body. Like
Yeah,
you could
exactly.
go, we could go to the beach and go have fun. Now we're showing off our now we're taking off our shirts and we're not even scared. We're like, yeah, let's take off our shirt. This is fun. We're showing off our bodies now. It's better than like, oh man, I'm all fat. Everyone's looking at me. No, now you're fun. Like now you can go
Also
swimming.
conscious.
There's so many different things you can do in life that have fun, and it's a community. Like we're all doing this together, so it's like it's fun to educate, and then that's what we're all about, like education too. We want to educate people about this stuff because a lot of people don't know about tracking food. A lot of people don't know about what is the best exercise to do, or a lot of people don't know what sleep can do for you. There's so many different aspects of life that people don't even know because they've never been taught. The educational system doesn't teach you how to be healthy. It's all about the
Exactly.
standard American diet that people don't know about. Like, oh, you're gonna like if you had a knowledge like, yeah, I'm gonna have heart disease at 45 because I don't even I just thought this was healthy. I thought Subway was healthy, but it's not. Like so we're really high in education. That's what health over everything's all about too. Education and community.
Yep, you gotta be educated to know what you gotta know in order to do what you gotta do, as far as eating, as far as your workouts. And I think community can be good too, is because, you can help push each other. You're not always going to be motivated to, want to wake up and work out every day. But if you have somebody there with you, like, oh, I know Aaron's waiting on me to work out. Like, I can't leave him hanging. Like, let's get
Yeah.
up, let's get our shoes on, and let's go meet up. So find somebody you could do it with. It could be a great way to help you stay on course. If you have any problems, talk to somebody else who's been through a similar problem or has the physique you want. Because more than likely, like if somebody has a physique, like you already know they put in the hard work, they were disciplined, they probably had the things where they, wanted to stay in and sleep in and overindulge in food. but they figured out a way to beat it. So go talk to somebody who has like the physique you want. That could be, something that benefits you too. So community could be really important with helping you stay on the path.
Yeah, and like too, like with a community thing is like a lot of people don't are in areas where they don't have like friends or they grew up in a school or somewhere where they don't have people that live a health over everything lifestyle. So like by listening to this podcast and a health over everything brand and just on our social medias and stuff, like your social media, Steven Z on Twitter or X and mine, SoCal Gula on X. We also have Instagram. What is your Instagram? Steven Z?
Steven Z.
Yeah,
Steven
Steven
Z
Z.
across the board.
Yeah, Steven Z across the board. Mine's SoCal Gula. So now we're showing what we do. And like you can start following other people like that are whole life or people that don't even know about our brand that live healthy lifestyles. But the thing is that you can start seeing it and start educating. Like I love education. Like I'm always reading books and listening to podcasts and I like sharing to
Hmm.
other people what I know. So they could like it's what I've learning is like I'm not a doctor, but I could learn something from a doctor and let you know what I learned. When
Yeah.
like with you, Steven, like you working out, like you work out all the time you are meticulous about your meal prep and all
Yeah,
that
I
stuff.
am.
But you could by doing that, you could just show like you're not really teaching people like I'm a teacher, I'm gonna be up here in school and teach you, but you're just showing people like on your social medias and stuff, like, look at this is my meal prep, this is how much grams are in it, this is what I'm eating. And somebody gets enlightened. They learn from you just by doing what you're doing, sharing your journey. And like so as you become like anyone listening to this, and once you become a whole lifer and you become a health over everything, boom, now you start doing these things. You can learn from us or other people, but you're putting health above everything. And then you start sharing with your friends, your wife, your kid, maybe even on social media. And then now other people are learning, and it should be, and if we all keep doing this, boom, it could become a wildfire and more people can learn and it becomes exponential. And then maybe it could help out your community, your friend
Yeah.
group, your community, and then also eventually, hopefully, America. And it'll become like, and then start changing the aspects of the food system, start changing the aspect of the pharmaceutical industry. And that's what we're kind of aiming to do with the lifestyle and the community. It all starts with one. Like it started with me and it started with Steven. And then,
Yeah.
your wife is your fiance is starting to get more into it a little bit, like little
Yeah.
by little, your kids obviously doing it. People
Yeah.
online, I've got many DMs of people saying like, oh, I started putting flaxseed in my food because I learned it from you, just things
Nice.
like that. And then it becomes then they start telling people and it becomes a good thing for the country and like helps out other people and helps out yourself. So that's what community education is all about.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I post I'm sure people don't want to see food pictures and my calories and all that shit,
Well,
but I
only
kind of
the
post it.
wrong people don't.
Oh, well,
The
I
right
kind of
people do.
post it because, I do want to inspire people. And, I feel like I'm gonna just like an average person. My discipline, I've worked on over time, but I post it and I share it because I want other people to know that it's possible. Like, there's nothing
Yeah.
special about me. There's nothing that I'm doing that every single person out there listening to this cannot do. It does take some effort, it does take some work, but it's possible. It's easy. If you want to lose weight, like, you just got to put in the work, stick to it. And I'm like living proof that, at one point I was what, 200, almost 250 pounds. And now I'm like, oh,
Woo!
I think I woke up today
That boy.
176. So it's like it's possible, and I've been maintaining my weight for a while.
Yeah,
Um,
that was
yeah,
230. Now I'm down to
I just want
180.
people to know that it's possible to live a more healthier lifestyle. It's possible to hit your fitness goals, and it all starts with your mindset and a belief in yourself that it's possible and that you can do it. So I just want to instill that in other people.
Yep. And also being a whole lifer and part of this community that we're in and that you guys are in listening, you don't necessarily have to put anything online. Like you could just, like you're saying, you just could do it for yourself first and
Yeah.
then do it for your family. Like you want your kids and you maybe you want to inspire your mom. Like maybe your mom is overweight and you want to inspire her. So you're living that lifestyle too. So then she could feed off of it. And you're trying to affect
Mhm.
that one person. That's it. That's all you care about is your mom. Like you want her to be healthy too. So you're doing it with her and you're trying to get her to maybe take her to the gym with you. But me and Steven, we have this brand and we're trying to inspire more people and get a community together here. And you post a lot of shit, Steven. Well, people from our past still follow us, right? And
Yeah.
they, like you said, they may not like it, but the thing is, the right people do. And like the thing is, the people that don't like it, they're either going to talk a shit about it behind your back, or they'll just unfollow you. But
Yeah.
that doesn't matter to me,
Yeah. Same.
because by the one person that follows me, two people are going to follow me that are love that shit, and they're like, oh, I like seeing it. Like your mother-in-law, like she loves seeing it. Like your fiance told me, like, oh, my mother-in-law loves seeing your food pictures. And then she's like, because she's like somebody likes it. Like maybe she gets some idea, or maybe it helps her out a little bit, and like on what she's eating or something, like and things like that. But
Yeah.
like there's a lot, like it doesn't matter to me what the people that don't like it see, because it's like I'm gonna do like whatever you do in life, especially when you take a new course, the old people in your life are not gonna like it. They're gonna be like, who is this person? This is like the person I like, and they're gonna talk shit and they don't like it. But eventually they phase out, even if they're really loud in the beginning, like, oh, why are you doing this? Or you just start ignoring them, or you block them, or you get rid of them. Who cares? Like, who
Yeah.
cares about them people? Because now you're living this lifestyle, you're moving forward, you're becoming healthier. And it's kind of funny then once people start talking shit, because then you're like, oh, look at them. Like, they're still living unhealthy. They're drinking, smoking, eating bad, not getting good sleep and stuff like that. And now I'm meeting all these new people that are doing that stuff, and they're loving it. They're part of the community, the health of
Yeah.
everything community.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're just gonna end it off because I got some people here. The dog's starting to bark. Which just eliminate excuses. So like this, there's no excuses, because somebody might die in your family, you might have to do something, you can't go to work today. But just try to eliminate almost all excuses as you possibly can.
Yeah, because excuses, your excuses are always going to be there. There's always going to be something that you can use as an excuse to why you didn't wake up early, why you didn't go to bed early, why you don't feel like going to the gym.
Yeah,
This person said this person did that. But it all boils down to like it's your body, it's your mind, and at some point you have to take control and ownership over those aspects of yourselves. Like if you're gonna allow someone else to kind of dictate what you're doing, like you're a prisoner to them, in my mind. Like you
yep,
have to take control of yourself and say, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, and it doesn't matter what happens, like I'm still gonna get to my destination. There might be a bump in the road, there might be, a detour I have to take along the way, but in the end, I already know I'm gonna get there regardless, and have that mindset going in where you're not gonna let any excuse or little small thing kind of bump you off your path.
exactly. Yeah, no excuses. Like, even if like you fall off, you can't be like, well, I'm just never gonna get healthy again because I fell off. No, that's not an excuse. You got to keep going no matter what you do. So that's just part of the thing. Like, we don't accept excuses here. And look, I got Rilo on camera. If you're not looking, he says no excuses. Say it, Rilo. No excuses. Rilo doesn't accept any excuses either. So if you're on camera, you can see this on X. But yeah, so that is pretty much what health over everything is all about. So, we're a community of people that are just trying to put health over everything, exercise, eat good, like those are our core principles and what we're all about here. So it's kind of just giving you guys some insight of what we're doing. And if you want to be part of the community, you got to do this stuff too. You got to, but just keep trying and don't have excuses. And like, you're accepted here. Like we accept everyone that wants to better themselves pretty much. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about. Just bettering yourself, trying to be as healthy as you can. We're here to support, trying to educate, and try to get you guys, and that's to be as healthy as possible, and spread it along. Living that whole life. That's what we're all about. Like that's what we, we're trying to rebrand the word hoe, because it was health over
Yeah.
everything,
We're gonna
HOE.
hijack it.
So that's what we're doing now. So I got the shirt on here to health over everything too, as you can see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
any
Yeah,
other
you're
final
really
words?
now. What happened?
Any final words?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you're, just starting off and you don't know where to begin, like just remember that everyone has a day one. At one point it was my day one and I didn't know what to do. So you just have to, that's why we're big on education. Educate yourself, go through some of the old podcasts and find something that, has information that you're looking for, or even go on Google or ChatGPT is an excellent source for resources. Find something that's going to answer your questions, whether it's a workout routine or your diet. There's calorie calculators online to figure out like a rough estimation of where your calories need to be. The information is out there if you're willing to search for it. Or you could shoot us a message on one of our social medias. Like we'll be more than happy to kind of direct you in the right direction or just answer the question directly if we can. But you got to start at some point. Excuses will only last for so long. And if you use the excuses, you're not going to get the results that you want. So at some point, take responsibility and just start. Take that first step. Start your day one and, change your life.
Yep, like they say, someday or day one. You wanted it's like it was
One day or
gone.
day one.
What did I say?
It's one day or day one.
Yeah, one day
I'll
or
do
day
it one
one.
day. One day I'm going to start
Yeah,
working
one
out.
day. So like make it one, like if you're listening and you haven't started yet and you haven't like you've done it and dabbled in it a little bit, but you want to really take that plunge, make today the day. Be like, okay, I'm really going to be a whole life for today. This is when it's going to start today. Like we're going to do this, and to get that discipline, that mindset first, and change it, and then like, go down the line. Work out, nutrition, aspect, all the other aspects of life, of health, and then educate. And like you're saying, like I love Chat GBT. I'll ask it so many things like, oh, like why are beans good for you? Why is steak
Hmm.
good for you? What is the pros and cons of eating chicken? And just ask it millions of questions. Be curious, and
Yeah.
just get after it.
Yeah, that's it. The answers are out there.
All right. So yeah, if you want to follow us and like follow Steven Z, it's Steven ST. Wait, S. What is it? Say it.
Steven.
ZEE.
Yeah, period ZEE.
So Steven Z. It'll be in the show notes as well. And then SoCal Gula, like Southern California, SoCal and Gula, GOULAH. So follow us on all social medias. We're on X um and Twitter and TikTok and whatever else. But I like to go on X a lot. But yeah, go on
Yeah,
SoCalGula.com,
I haven't been
buy a
on
shirt.
TikTok too much.
Yeah, go on SoCalGula.com, buy a shirt, take a picture of it, post it so we can see you and we know that you're part of that whole life. And yeah, we're gonna keep making, this is what we're doing. We're gonna have more guests on, and like we say, keep educating and building the community up for all of you.
Yep.
All right, until next episode, everybody. I'm SoCal Gula. Peace out.
Steven Z. Till next time.